Hey you guys, welcome to the Boring Dog channel where we simplify the overcomplicated industry that is the dog training world. I just wanted to have a chat with you guys today. Something happened for me this morning, like a realization, I guess. I woke up and it was time to go to the gym and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to go to the gym. But I knew I had to. And it's on those days where you don't want to do something and you do them where the magic happens, where you realize you're strong and you're resilient. And sometimes the things that you dread the most are actually have the biggest impact on your life. Fast forward to a little bit later in the day and I look at my kitchen and it looks like a bomb has gone off, and I can't tell you how many times it feels like I clean the kitchen. I'm sure all of you can relate. It's like a never-ending cycle of cleaning the kitchen. Dishes appear, you clean them, surfaces get crusty, you clean them. It just like feels like it never ends. And sometimes that's just exhausting. You just like wish that you could clean the kitchen and it would stay clean. Same with personal hygiene. Like sometimes I cannot be asked to have a shower in the evening. I'm like stinky and sweaty and gross, but the last thing I want to do is like get wet and have to dry myself, and it just feels like a lot of effort, but I know I need to get it done. And this seems unrelated, but it's entirely related to dog training. Sometimes you don't want to train your dog, or you just want to hire a trainer to train them and then not have to do anything. You just want to have a good dog. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't really work that way. Unfortunately, every interaction with your dog is training. And even with my personal dogs who are fully trained, for me, like working with a dog is just second nature. I don't have to think a lot of about a lot of the things that we instruct owners to do, like pausing at thresholds, like loose leash, no pulling, the heel position being in the right spot. For me, that just feels second nature by this point because I'm doing it every single day. But for owners, it's really hard to be diligent about that kind of stuff. But even for me, where I typically don't have to think about stuff, my dogs need constant feedback. Like it's not just a one and done. Like I'm always having to like fine tune the structure. Sometimes my little dog needs more structure at times. We need to get the crate back out and she has to be crated a bit more. Sometimes we have to have her off leash a bit less and like work on her leash skills. Like it's a never ending, I've had her for 2 years and it's never ending training. My older dog I've had for 4 years, who's been trained with these methods since I've had him, and it's constant, just like fine tuning. It's not just a one and done, and it can feel really exhausting at times to do that, but so can like brushing your teeth. Sometimes like the last thing you want to do at the end of the day is like brush your teeth, but you know you have to. Take a shower because you know you have to. Clean the kitchen because a dirty kitchen is gross and you've got to clean the kitchen. Clean the bathrooms. That was a task this morning that I have been putting off for weeks and it took me 15 minutes and it's done, and I've been dreading it for 3 weeks. This is kind of going all around the houses, but I hope it's making sense. Just sometimes the smallest things have the biggest impact, and it's the small moments of discipline that you have that is needed for your dog training. Yes, it's the easy option to just let them blast out the crate. Yes, it's the easy option to just not even bother walking them on leash because they drag you around. So if you clip the leash and have them off leash, that's just easier for you. Oftentimes, yes, there's a much easier way out, but that isn't what leads to the magic. You can look at other people with really trained dogs or really big biceps or like a very healthy lifestyle and think, oh, it's just easy for them. I'm actually here to tell you it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone. Showing up consistently every single day is not always easy. But the people who stick with it and the people who do it even when it feels like the last thing on earth they want to do, that's the people who are reaching their goals. And with your dog, the problem is only going to get worse if you just continue to do the easy thing, to not hire the trainer, to spend the money on something else this summer instead of training your dog, to not follow up with your trainer when things start to slip, to not even follow the post-board and train manual because it's strict and requires effort and you'd rather just not. It's not doing those things that lead to the huge things that you struggle with every single day. I suffered for 3 weeks thinking I need to clean the bathroom. Every time I went in the bathroom, I was like, need to clean the bathroom. Every to-do list I've written every couple days for the last few weeks, 3 weeks, maybe longer, honestly, pretty gross, but yeah, maybe longer. I've been thinking about it for like weeks and it took me 15 minutes. Like, it's wild what we do in our brains that make that an option. And so I just invite you to consider with your dog, what are the things that you're doing that's taking the easy way out? Not clipping on your prong collar because it takes a few seconds longer than just clipping the leash to their flat collar that's already on. Not using the e-collar because you don't want to carry another thing. Or because someone's going to judge you for using a tool like the e-collar or the prong collar. What are these really small things that you're doing that are having a huge impact on your life and your dog's life? That if we just did, things would be different. And so I'm here to tell you that there is an easier way. It's not easy in the moment, but from the bigger picture, it's easier. And you can sit there and dread your walks or think of ways to save money to hire the trainer and wonder if it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. It's worth it in your fitness journey, in your clean house journey. A clean house is a clear mind. Like, I feel so much better when my house is clean. And yes, it's important that I can still function if my house isn't clean. I don't want to become obsessive about it. But just recognizing that, like, when things are clean and in order, like, it feels so much better. And when your dog is behaving and you have the freedom to take them wherever without being like, oh no, sorry, I can't go there today because my dog can't handle it. Or, oh no, sorry, I can't go there because it's dogs on leash only and my dog's horrible on leash. So I know this is kind of overdone, but consistency really is key to a well-trained dog. And if you are only consistent when it matters to you, your dog's training isn't going to be rock solid. It's the times when it feels like the most effort or like the last thing you want to do that make the biggest impact on their overall behavior every single day. These are moments like I mentioned earlier, coming out the crate, going into the crate, getting into the car, instead of like blasting their body in the car as soon as the boot even cracks a tiny bit, you get them to pause. Just use the leash, give a little pop backwards to ask for that moment of pause. Going in and out of the door, they go to blast their way in or out of the door, pop back, slow them down, just get them to pause in between these like actions, these impulses that happen every day. Just that alone has such a huge impact on your dog's behavior. Putting them in the crate, these two dogs here, they arrived yesterday for training. This is day 2 of their day training. When I brought them in this room yesterday, they were panting, shaking, trembling, whining, barking just from being asked to go in the crate. We did a 4-hour day with them yesterday, roughly 2 hours each, split up over 4 hours. I bring them in today and they go straight into this because this feels better for them. But most owners, after watching what happened as soon as we put them in the crate, would freak out. It would make them feel uncomfortable watching their dog be so stressed, so they would bring them out the crate because it's too stressful. If I had have just done that yesterday, as soon as they got stressed, just brought them out the crate, we wouldn't have achieved this today. And so sometimes you have to push your emotional wants aside so that you can prioritize your dog's psychological needs. Your dog's psychological needs are, it doesn't feel good to be so stressed just being asked to go in a crate, because sometimes you're going to have to go in a crate. If you go to the vet and you have a big surgery, if you get rehomed because shit happens and your new owner needs you to be in a crate for whatever reason, crating your dog is so important. And if we just avoid that because it makes us feel uncomfortable, it's not what's best for the dog. And that same like philosophy can be transferred across like many different things in our dog's behavior. One of these dogs here really struggles with any pressure, really. Like anything he feels unsure about, he's going to put the brakes on and he's going to thrash like his life depends on it to not do the thing that he thinks is really scary. Most owners are going to take the pressure off when that happens. They see the dog thrashing, freaking out, and they release the pressure. We're teaching the dog that when you feel even remotely uncomfortable or scared, it's okay to run away, which is not setting your dog up for success. Ignoring it, so never putting them in an uncomfortable situation, or when they get in the uncomfortable situation, letting them scream and kick and thrash and get out of it, are not creating a confident, trusting dog. Your dog is not going to trust you if you don't show them, hey, look, follow me. I'll show you, it's not scary. If you can do that for your dog, imagine how they'll see you. They're going to look at you and be like, holy moly, you really know what you're doing. Maybe I'll trust you in other areas too. Becoming that trustworthy leader for your dog is so important to a healthy relationship, and it's not achieved by prioritizing your emotions. You have to be able to become emotionally neutral and be able to look from an outside perspective of what your dog needs, even if it feels really shitty for you in the moment or it feels really sad for you to see them this way. You have to step back and detach from that and see, no, my dog really needs this right now. What my dog is freaking out about right now isn't scary. I need to prove that to them by guiding them through this, not by allowing them to run away from it. Where it gets really complicated is dogs communicate using a physical language. So they set boundaries with one another using their teeth, a nip on the neck or the flank or the ear to say, hey, that's a boundary, I don't like that. They'll also use spatial pressure and a shit ton of body language that we don't even see to communicate as well. So the ways we're going to tell our dog, hey, just come with me, it's not scary, don't worry, is going to be in their language, which is going to be in the form of a physical form of guidance. When you have an owner who feels bad that their dog's scared anyway, and then we're going to tell you the way that you're going to guide them through that fear is using physical pressure, we have a big problem. Because humans don't communicate using a physical language. We communicate using our words. So we'll say to a child, hey, don't worry, it's okay, it's not scary. Dogs don't understand that. They don't know what that means. They only understand physical. We can teach them words, sure, but we can't teach them it's okay by coddling them, petting them, kissing them, and allowing them to pull back from the fear. That's not teaching them it's okay. That's actually teaching them, yeah, you're right, this thing's really, really scary. We should come away from it right now. You're just solidifying that their fear is accurate. Instead, you say nothing. You give them their physical language, which is going to typically be in the form of leash pressure, because the leash is like the key to communication with your dog. So it's probably going to be leash pressure through the scary thing, whether it's for this dog going into the crate yesterday was like his whole life depended on not going in that crate. And I showed him with leash pressure, hey, look, it's all good, dude. You go in here and nothing bad happens. Now, like 24 hours later, he's like passed out in here right now. So he was able to trust me. He was like, oh, okay, actually, this isn't that bad. If I just let him thrash, kick, scream, and not go in, we wouldn't be here today. And so the complication comes with the physical aspect of this. Sometimes we're using the e-collar, which is mimicking that nip on the neck. Sometimes we're using a prong collar to apply pressure in a safe way to the dog's neck, because if they're backing up, kicking, screaming, no, 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 and they're on a slip lead or a flat collar, all that pressure is going to be going through their trachea, which we hear the coughing that happens when you put pressure on the leash, which sure, most owners are going to like release the pressure when they hear the dog choke. That's definitely the right thing to do. But that's why we then want to use the prong collar, so that we don't have to release the pressure. We can keep the pressure on and show them, hey, don't worry, it's okay. With no words. That's going to be done with the prong collar, giving pressure, 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 and the dog's like, no, 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 I'm going to die. And then they finally are like, okay, I've got no choice, I'll go. And then they go and the pressure's released and they didn't die. And they're like, oh, that wasn't that bad actually. And oh, you're attached to the end of the leash. You made me do that. I trust you. Most people are going to have a really big problem with that. You like forced the dog to do something they were scared of. It's like, too right I did, because if I never forced myself to do things that scare me, I would never get stronger. If I don't force myself to go to the gym, even on the days when it's the last thing in the world I want to do, I want to snooze my alarm and stay in my comfy bed, I wouldn't get stronger. If I didn't clean my kitchen and my bathroom and realize it actually only takes 15 minutes and it feels so much better for my mental health when it's clean, I wouldn't keep doing it. So it's those things, those moments that like sometimes it's the last thing you want to do, either because it feels emotionally uncomfortable or because it just feels like the harder thing to do. We want to follow the path of least resistance. The moments when you don't let that consume you are going to lead you to a great life. Whether it's with your dog or in your personal life, for your fitness goals, whatever it is, the things that are the hardest lead us to the most amazing things in life. So I hope my rambling has made sense today. It was just a very like big moment for me of like, fuck's sake, I don't want to clean the kitchen. Again, it feels like all I'm doing is cleaning the kitchen. But that's just life. Everything feels like that. At some point, not all the time, obviously, otherwise we would never do it. But we go through stages of, do I really have to do this today? And the answer is yes. Because when you do it, you're going to get stronger. And when we relate that to our dog and their training, when it's like, oh, I really don't want to put the prong collar on for the walk today. Or I can't be bothered to slow them down going into the car. We're going in the car anyway. Or I'm just not going to use the e-collar today because my friend is judgy and I can't be bothered to deal with them. Those like small moments that are like way too easy to do because it's just the easier way, that's where you're missing all the good stuff. So comment below if you have any thoughts about anything I've said today. I hope it all makes sense. I kind of went everywhere. But let me know what you got out of this talk, and I'll see you soon.